Question from John Scott.
Mayor DuPree, you touched on, I guess this would be prison reform. For so many years, it would seem our state's attitude was to put as many people in jail as possible, but it's got to the point now where I think with the budget problems, we're looking at maybe if there are better ways to do that. Is it time to start looking at decriminalization of drug laws, things like that?
Well, I'm not going to talk about decriminalization of drug laws. I think they'd probably throw me out of here if I did that. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to tell you is that over the last 8 years, we have had an increasing amount of money that has gone to incarcerating people. And I think primarily because we got a middleman now. We have privatized incarceration to the hilt. It's costing us so much money. And I told you what the numbers were to start out with. We've got to look at cutting the middleman out, okay? And then we got to look at preventive measures. We have a measure now that if someone commits just a misdemeanor, we don't put them in jail. We make them work. We make them cut roads and cut grass and do the kind of thing. And some of them we hire. The other ones that have a job, because I think it's some asinine about somebody that needs to pay child support and they're not paying child support, they got a job, so you put them in jail so they can't pay child support. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So what we do, we give them an ankle bracelet. We give them a real nice electronic ankle bracelet. And we let them go anywhere they want to, but we just know where they are. But they make the payments to the child support. We got to find innovative ways to keep people out of jail, to keep them, and jobs and education is the answer. It goes right back to where we started from. Education and jobs. Martin Luther King said something. If you give a man a job, if you give a man an opportunity to chart his own course with a job, he will chart his own course because he has the money to do that. It was good in 1965. It's good. It's the same thing right now. That's what we have to do. Move the middleman out of the way and find a way to change this system that we have of putting people in jail.
Thank you. Mr. Luckett.
I think we've been on the wrong track in treating both some mental health patients and some drug offenders. The psychologists, the doctors will tell you that these are treatable problems, that incarceration is not the answer to this. We've got to reduce this prison population. Along with Louisiana, Mississippi has the highest rate of incarceration of any jurisdiction in the world. I said that right, in the world. And there are better ways than what we're practicing right now. But like Mayor said, this private prison industry, I see it in Yazoo City, I see it in Tutwiler, Mississippi, I see it all over the state. Now, a lot of those prisoners are coming from out of state, and I do beg to correct him on the cost per year per prisoner. It's closer to $25,000 to $28,000 than it is $14,000. It's an enormous cost to us. And we've got to look at addressing the problems first so they don't become more expensive problems later.
Thank you. Question for Bobby Harrison.
Can I kind of change the rules a little bit, because you didn't answer his question. I think you may want to answer it. You may be making some real news. His original question was about decriminalization and drugs.
No, well, I'll answer that. No, we're not going there.
Yeah, well, that's
okay. If there is an offender, we must treat that offender, that pled guilty by jury person differently. These people need treatment. I've seen a friend of mine who moved back from Atlanta who had an anger management problem. He needs some mental health treatment, not to be put in the county jail. There are different approaches, and that's where we need to address them, I think.
I didn't think you were going to decriminalization.
No.
Not even on the college campus.
Real quick
Yeah.
question for both of y'all. God forbid, if you should lose on August 2nd, will you endorse your Democratic opponent?
Sure, I certainly will. I think any sensible Mississippian needs to endorse Mayor DuPree should he win this. I think Mayor DuPree is the second best candidate in this race.
That's easy.
Same, God forbid, for you, Mayor DuPree.
Well, you'll find that Mr. Luckett and I agree on one thing, that he's the best candidate after me. No, look, I didn't say that for, thank y'all. But let me tell you what, you know, you have two good choices here. You really have two good choices here. You have a man who has been very successful in his own right. All you have to do is go to Clarksdale and see what he's done. All you have to do is look at his bio and see what he's achieved in his own right. But I think I've been successful in my own right too. I've owned my own business. I worked for a major corporation. I've also been in public service because I believe that's what it's about. Mr. Luckett has been in private business where the bottom line is, how much money can you make? That's the bottom line. I've been in a business where the bottom line is how much service can you provide with the money that you have. And that's what we've done in Hattiesburg. And you can look and see that. Now I have, to answer your question though, the very first time Mr. Luckett and I met, but the second time we met, I told Mr. Luckett if I run and if I win, if he wins, that I support him. And then next time, I think very first time we had a setting like we're here today, I stood in front of everybody like I am now. And I said the same thing to Mr. Luckett. If he were blessed enough to win, that I would support him. Because I believe we need a Democrat. I believe that with my whole heart. And I will support him and my family will support him the way that Democrats support Democrats.
Thank you, Mayor. Question from Jacob Batt.
You talked about decriminalization and crime rates, but what are you going to? Mississippi constantly ranks in the top 10 in murder rates, in as far as per 100,000 citizens, and the top 15 in burglary. Are you planning on doing anything to help stop the crime in Mississippi?
Well, is that for me? Okay. Well, again, all I can do is go back on our history. I think first of all, you got to hire the right people. I mean, you know, you got to hire the right people to make sure that they're doing what you require them to do. You can't put somebody with every criminal in Mississippi. It just doesn't work that way. But what we've been able to do in Hattiesburg over my last 2.5 terms, has been able to reduce the murder rate, reduce the robberies, reduce all those major crimes that the FBI report. We do it because we use technology, because we've increased our neighborhood associations, our neighborhood. When I became mayor, we had 20-something neighborhood associations. Now we have almost 40. Because again, we believe that protection is a collaborative, not just police, but police, business people, neighborhood associations, everybody working together to solve the problems that you have. And until we all decide to do that, you can't put it all on the police officer. It takes everybody to solve problems. Most of the crimes that you see solved today are solved by people helping the police department solve the problem in some form or manner. So that's what we plan on doing for the state of Mississippi, is working with police officers, working with other cities to make sure they can do the things they need to do, like supporting the Sheriff's Association for things that they want. And I think we have a history of supporting law enforcement, both county and city.
Thank you. Mr. Luckett.
Well, I agree. I appreciate the Mayor's comments there. You know, and again, we circle back to that education component. Quality jobs, not just minimum wage jobs, some good middle class type and upwardly mobile jobs is what we need. And that's going to take some of the pressure off some of these folks who see the street as their only way to get along. You know, it's a scary proposition if we continue down the path we're on now. Our gap between being 50th and 49th in education has widened during the past 7 years. It hasn't narrowed. The difference in being first in poverty, where we are, and second has actually widened. Our life expectancy in this state is even down now, and not necessarily due to the murder rate, but due to the health problems we have. We have some major changes to make in Mississippi, and decreasing crime is certainly one of them, and we can tackle them all.
Thank you. Question from John Scott.
Could I respond just on what Mr. Luckett said at the end? Because I agree with him on our life expectancy, and it's something that you all should really realize. that, you know, in Mississippi, for men, we don't live as long as other people in the United States. The top 5 counties in the United States, 4 of them are in Mississippi. And it gets worse for women. The top 5 counties in the United States where women live the shortest, all 5 counties are in the Delta. And you know why? It's because of obesity and smoking. What we try to do is tackle that in Hattiesburg. We've tackled it by becoming the healthiest city under over 10,000 with walking trails, complete streets, sidewalks, all the things people want, and a smoking ban or smoking ordinance to keep them doing. We've tackled those things. And that's what you got to do for the state of Mississippi in order to do it. You can't just keep talking about what it is. You got to talk about what you're going to do. That I got a history of doing that.
Mr. Luckett, you want to add anything?
No, no thanks.
Okay.